Okay, students, so are we all ready for today's English class? Jimin in the back, are you ready? Good. Now, let's start by reading our unit title together. What's the unit title? Designing an inclusive environment. So this is an interesting unit title, right? So based on this unit title, let's guess what our text will be about, okay? So based on the title, we're going to guess what the text will be about. So does anyone have any idea? Minsu? Oh, so Minsu thinks that based on this title, the story is going to be about a design that embraces all different people. Very nice. So why did you think like that? Oh, so Minsu got the idea from the word inclusive. So he thought of the word include, including everyone. Very nice. So any other idea? Yeonju? Oh, so Yeonju thinks that it's about a design that embraces people equally. Very nice. So it seems that we all have different idea about the text, okay? So let's figure out if our guesses were right as we read the text. Great. So this time we're going to do talking activity, okay? Talk. Okay, so we're going to talk with our partner and make our thoughts more innovative, okay? More deeply. This time, we're going to talk with our partner about universal design, okay? Universal design. To give you a spoiler, okay? This is actually a universal design. When you're designing an inclusive environment, it's a universal design. So, with your partner, I want you to talk about what universal design is going to be about for 5 minutes, okay? You're going to talk with your partner about 5 minutes. Your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, students, time's up. Time's up. So, let's see. Which student would like to share their partner's opinion? Okay, so Jimin, can you share Sohee's opinion? Oh, so Sohee thinks that universal design is about a design that is comfortable for all different people. Okay, then Jimin, would you like to add some more idea to Sohee? Okay, so when you're doing that, I want you to look at the picture on the screen. Click. So on screen, everyone, we see a picture of different people holding their hands, right? But look at those people. Do they look the same? No, they look different. So what are the characteristics? Very nice. There are tall people, short people, old people, and people with disability, right? Then, okay, based on this idea, Sohee, would you like to add some idea to universal design? Oh, so Sohee said that universal design is a design that is comfortable for tall people, short people, and also people with disability. Very nice. So it seems that we have different idea about universal design, okay? So let's finally read the text and figure out what universal design is, okay? So before we read the text, okay, let's look at material 2. And before we read the text, we're first going to learn some word. The word that we're going to focus on is segregating, okay? Segregating. So I'm going to give you an example, and I want you to guess the meaning based on my example. However, this is a guessing activity, so it's okay to be wrong. So, for example, since we are talking about universal design, when you design a universal design, you're not segregating, right? You are building a design that is equally comfortable for everyone. Equally comfortable, right? So, everyone, what does segregating mean? Any guess? Yeonu? Very nice. So segregating means treating fairly or unfairly? Right, treating unfairly. So why did you think like that? Right, because I said universal design is about equally treating, okay? It's not segregating. Very nice. So since we now know the word, let's move on to grammar. So, students, let's look at the text again, and there are some words that has box on it, right? So, what do they look like? Very nice, Chunsu. It has verb plus ing, right? Verb plus ing. Let me ask you a question that can help you understand grammar, okay? So, are these words verb or noun? You seemed confused, okay? So let me rephrase the question. So in front of these words, what do we see? Right, of, by, right? So after, we call this of and by preposition, right? And after preposition, what usually comes? Very nice, noun, okay? So let me ask you a question again. So, students, if we use verb plus ing, okay, what is the function? Right, we can change verb into noun, right? So, for example, we can use eat plus ing and make it into eating and use it as noun, like I like eating. Very nice. So, since we are done with the word and grammar, we're finally going to read, okay? However, we are going to read it 2 times, okay? We're going to read it 2 times, and let's look at the story chart together, okay? On the story chart, we are going to focus on 3 different information, but first, when you read, okay, we're going to focus on the definition of universal design, okay? So, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to read, okay, and quickly read it through and figure out the definition, okay, definition of universal design. Your 3 minutes starts now. Okay, students, time's up. So, who can tell me the definition of universal design? Very nice, Yeonu. So, universal design is a design that is equally comfortable for everyone, different types of people, right? So, we can say that this is the main idea of the universal design, okay? This time, we're going to read it one more time, and let's look at the story chart again, okay? On story chart, this time, we're going to focus on 2 different things, okay? We're going to focus on features, okay? Features of universal design. So there is 2 features of universal design. And also, we're going to focus on examples of these features. In each feature, there are 2 different examples, okay? However, if writing in English on the chart is kind of difficult, you can simply underline those parts in your text, okay? So, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this. Your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, students, time's up. So let's now check your story chart. So, who can tell me the first feature of universal design? Any idea? Yeonji? Right. We have equality, okay? Equality. So, when you are building universal design, it is equally comfortable for everyone, okay? So that is the feature. And for this feature, we have 2 different examples. And what's the first example? Any idea? Minu? Right. We have automatic door. We have automatic door. Okay, so for example, okay, if I were blind, if I couldn't see, and there is automatic door in front of me, what would happen? Right, I would be able to comfortably go through without pushing the door. So, we now know what universal design is, okay, and we have finished reading the text. So, this time, okay, let's review what we just learned. What did we learn? We learned about the definition of universal design, and features and examples, okay? So it's finally time to relate to our learning, relate to our life, okay? So in school, students, in school, there are different types of people, right? There are different types of people. There are tall people, short people, right? And there are some old people and people with disability. So what is really essential, what is really necessary? Right, we need universal design, okay? So we're going to write a suggestion to our school about universal design, okay? However, we're going to do this in a step-by-step process starting from discussion. So, students, when we are discussing, I want you to sit as a group of 4 people, group 1, group 5. So, this time, you're going to talk about how to improve our school with universal design, okay? We are going to talk about 2 specific things, okay? First, I want you to talk about problems. So, about universal design, does our school have any problem? And second, based on this problem, I want you to talk about how to improve, okay? How to improve. So, since this is kind of difficult, I'm going to help you, okay? So, eyes on the screen, click. So, on screen, what is this, students? Right, this is the picture of our school, right? On the left side, okay, on the left side, we see a picture of good things about universal design. So, in our school, we have different sizes of desk, right? And on the right side, there are some things that we need improvements, okay? Problems, right? So, what is the problem? Right, there are no slopes and there are too many stairs, right? So, using this picture, I want you to talk with your students, talk with your group members about these 2 things. So, group 4, what are the 2 things we have to include? Right, improvement and problems. Okay, I'm going to give you about 8 minutes to talk, starting now. Okay, students, time's up. So it seems that I have been hearing creative idea, okay? And now, since we have talked about idea, we're going to form this idea, okay? So we're going to do outlining activity. So I want you to take out your tablet PC and go into Google Classroom, okay? And I have uploaded material 3, okay? In this material 3, there are 3 information that you have to include, okay? So what are the 3 information? So we are going to use what you just talked about, okay? So first you have to include, it's the same, problems. And also you have to include solution, which is the improvement, okay? And finally, we're going to add one more detail. What is the detail? It's expected benefit. Thank you, Junsu. So we have to also include expected benefit. So students, the reason we're including this is because we're going to suggest, we're going to persuade, right? So I want you to think about the expected benefit that comes from the solution, okay? So group 1, what is the 3 things we have to include? Right, problems, solution, and expected benefit. And I want you to upload this on Google Classroom. Also, you can use online dictionary if you can think of the word. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and your 10 minutes starts now. Okay, students, time's up. Time's up. So since we are done with discussion and outlining, we are finally going to write, okay? So this time, you're going to write what? Suggestion, right, to our school. You're also going to upload this on Google Classroom so other groups can also see and give feedback. Now, there are 3 things that we have to consider when we're writing, okay? So this is the guideline. Okay, so first, what are the 3 things we have to include? Group 4? Right, we have to include problems, solutions, and expected benefits. So this is the content, right? So make sure you include all these 3 things in your writing. And second, I want you to write well-connected writing, okay? So what I mean by well-connected is your solution has to be related to the problem and your benefit has to be related to the solution, okay? And finally, since this is a suggestion, right? This is a suggestion, you have to use persuasive and what? Creative idea, okay? To make sure that we have universal design in our school. Understand? So, you can also use online dictionary if necessary. And I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do this. Your 10 minutes starts now. Okay, so group 3, is there anything that I can help? Oh, it seems that only 2 people are participating. However, we're writing a suggestion, so I want all of you to collaborate. Good. Okay, students, so time's up. Now, I have seen all of your suggestions, and it seems that we are ready to share, okay? So, upload those on your online classroom, and we are going to give peer feedback. So, using the comment function of Google Classroom, we're going to give feedback. And for the criteria, okay, I want you to look at material 4, okay? On material 4, there are 3 things we have to consider when giving feedback. Let's see them. So what's the first thing? Right, it is organization. Organization. So you have to consider if the writing is well connected. And second, creativity. Remember, your writing has to be including creative idea, so look at the group's writing and see if they are creative. And third, finally, language. So remember, I told you to use online dictionary, so make sure your group, other groups have used the appropriate vocabulary, okay? So let's see, group 4, what are the 3 things that we have to consider? Right, organization, creative, and language. So after looking at these 3 criteria, give 1 to 3 points, okay? And leave it on the comment function. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to give peer feedback. Your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, students, time's up. So it seems that I have to give you feedback so that you can use the peer feedback and my feedback to revise, okay? So, I was reading all your suggestions from this computer, and it seems that you have come up with creative idea, okay? However, I would like to give you feedback. This is suggestion, so you have to give the school some impact, right? However, it seems that your sentences are too long, okay? When this happens, it can be boring. 하고 여기서 끝났습니다.